Good afternoon to all. Myself Shishikala Wali, working as assistant professor since 12 years, Department of Pharmacy Practice, KL College of Pharmacy, Belagavi. Now, I am going to discuss on informed consent process in clinical research. So, I'll be discussing on introduction, purpose of consent, what is informed consent form, and what about the history, and what are the basic principles are there, and what are the elements of informed consent, how the consent auditing findings can be done, and lastly, summary. So, definition of this informed consent is according to the ICH and according to the good clinical practice, it is defined a process by which subject voluntarily confirms his or her willingness to participate in particular clinical research. And after having been informed of all aspects of the trial that are relevant to the subject's decision to participate. And it is documented by means signed and it should be a dated informed consent. And it is a key instrument in protecting the right and safety of the human subjects. Procurement of consent ensures human dignity of the participants and also shows respect for the patients. Here patient is nothing but the subject. Informed consent is one of the primary ethical principles governing of the human subject research. And informed consent assures that it is a prospective research subjects and it will understand the nature of the research and also knowledgeably, voluntarily decide whether or not to participate. Here we are not forcing them to participate in the clinical research. Voluntarily they should agree for participating in the research or in the clinical trial. So here it comes, what is informed consent? It is a communication process between the researcher and the participant. Participant is nothing but the subject. Researcher is nothing but the principal investigator, the one who is the leading for this particular research, clinical trial. Or we can call researcher principal investigator. And it starts before the research is initiated and it should be continued throughout the duration of the study. Sometimes some clinical trials, it may be 1 year study will be there, either 15 month study will be there, 6 month studies will be there, but it should start before the clinical trial, it should be initiated and continues throughout the duration of the study, providing all relevant information to the volunteer or patient. See here, relevant information is nothing but we should provide the patient information sheet and in that it should be what are the contents of the patient information sheet. In that it should be given the relevant informations of related to the subject's benefits, risk and what is the dose of the investigational product is there and what are the precautions should be taken, what are the indications, what are the side effects are there. Each and everything should be written in that, all relevant informations. And the patient or volunteer understanding the information provided, voluntarily agreeing to participate. So we should provide the relevant information to the patients. They should thoroughly go through the informations and they should understand each information provided in the patient information sheet and voluntarily they should agree to participate in the study and it should not force them to participate. And it is necessary to conduct ethical research. Very important. This is the main component of the conduct of ethical research. So ethically we should conduct the research. Informed consent is the fundamental mechanism to ensure respect for the persons through provision of thoughtful consent of the voluntary act. So according to the Belmont report, it is saying that it is the well-being of the patient, right, and the very important is safety. Informed consent is government regulated and It should be a institutional review board is responsible. Institutional review board, either the institutional ethics committee. It is the same thing. For ensuring policies are being followed, the first is reviewing of the informed consent form. It should be a clear. Patient should understand what is the clinical research study and how it is benefited for the patient, what are the side effects are there, what are the compensations are there, and everything should be written in that. It should be a clear consent, and patient should easily understand, easily he can read. Okay, so accurately reflects the project. Reviewing the process of obtaining informed consent: who, what, where, when, and how. How many patients we are going to enroll in the study, and where we are going to enroll, and when and how. What is the procedure is there. Everything should be written in the informed consent. Coming to what are the importance of informed consent. Here, informed consent is the first and longest of the 10 principles in the Nuremberg Code. Because in this, mainly written in the Nuremberg Code, main of the well-being of the subjects. Informed consent is included in every guidelines on research ethics, and it is one of the 8 requirements for clinical research. According to the history of the unethical clinical trials already done before the World War II, unethical clinical trials done by US Health Services gave birth of bioethics and some of the creation of IRB and informed consent. Like without taking the informed consent, some of the subjects they have enrolled into the study. It was like Nazis concentration camp, and in America and Britain, and some of the scientific research to combat dysentery, influenza, malaria and all. Because that time they used to use the patients into the study, like they used to use like animals, and there was no any guidelines was there, no ethical guidelines, no any consent. Without consent only they used to take into the study and use orphan patients, mental retard patients, psychotic patients, vulnerable populations, and prisoners also they used to take. So it was like the attitude was different those days. And NIH funds for experimentation, no right for the participants. And again, in 1960 to 1970, National Research Act and National Commission for Protection of Research Participants in Biomedical and Behavioral Research. And again, it came to 1979. It came to for Belmont Report. Belmont Report is saying that expanded the definition of informed consent. How, like, what definition is there? How ethically we should go about it while taking the subjects into the study. Participants kept informed throughout the experiment, and we should have confidentiality. Understand the risk and benefits. Protection of vulnerable group. Here it is very important component of the vulnerable group. In the vulnerable populations, like we can say about pediatric populations, geriatric populations, pregnancy and lactation, as well as mental retard patients, then prisoners, all comes under the vulnerable group. So here the most safety and protection of the vulnerable group is important. And what is the purpose of consent? Why we need to take them into the study? Prospective subject will be understand the nature of the research, be informed of purpose. What is the purpose is there, and what are the risks are involved in that study, and what benefits they can get it from the study while enrolling into that study, and what are the alternative therapies if anything is happened for the patients, like threatening is there, either any serious adverse event is there, either any mild adverse event is there. So what treatment can be given, what alternative therapies can be given, everything should be written in the informed consent. And make voluntary decision about the participation. Coming to how to go about the screening procedure. So informed consent must be obtained prior to any protocol specific testing being conducted. So first of all, when we are screening the patients, So before screening, we will see what are the eligibility criteria are there. What are the inclusion exclusion criteria are there. What protocol is written in that, how the informed consent forms are there. What are the testings can be performed. What are the laboratory investigations are required based on the protocol. If protocol specific testing done the same day as informed consent document signed, must be clear documentation. If according to the eligibility criteria, if we want to do any the laboratory investigations and after getting the report of the particular patients, subjects, and if the patient is fit into the study, then we can go about the go for the consent document, and it should be a signed dated, and it should be a clear documentations. Coming to how to go about the interview. When we are enrolling into the study, first of all, we should go for the interview. Who can conduct the interview to obtain informed consent? Who is the eligible candidate to take the interview of the subject? The one who is the leader in the team of the clinical trial, we can call principal investigator. We can call principal investigator either main researcher. Either also eligible for sub-investigator, sub-I we can call, and as well as study staff person listed with the institutional review board, either the institutional ethics committee, the whom the investigator has documents, is fully aware with the study and is able to answer the all the related to the subject's questions. Whatever they will ask, the subject is going to ask the questions during the interview. The study team person should understand thoroughly with the whatever listed in the IRB, whatever listed in the document of informed consent, and whatever the protocol is there. So he should be ready with answering the subject's questions. Coming to how, where interview can be performed. This is the most important component, and how confidentiality will be maintained. First of all, we are going to choose the very quite safe area, private, safe place to talk the prospective subject. Investigator shall seek such comment only under circumstances that provide prospective subject or representative sufficient opportunity to consider whether or not to participate, and that minimize the possibility of the under influence. Here there is no any influence to be given to the patient, and we can freely, we can advise them to thoroughly understand the particular informed consent. The information that is given to subject shall be in a suitable language. The one who is understand easily, he can write easily for the particular language. We can translate into a different languages in a local languages from English to local language. Understandable, it should be understandable to the subject, either the legal representative. When should informed consent be informed? Obtain consent after approval by sponsor and IRB, either IEC, and consent prior to initiation of any clinical procedures that are performed solely for purpose of determining the eligibility for the research. So IRB should they should go through the consent, and it should be an accurate one. Then only the principal investigator can go about it, and he can follow whatever the comments given by the IRB, and in that modifications can be done. So how documentation of informed consent process is there? Check the contact information is complete on ICFs given to the subjects. If we are providing the informed consent to the subject, in that after signing by the subject, we should go through whether contact number is written or no, whether signed, whether proper signature is there or no, whether date is written or no. Provide subject with one of the copies of the signed and dated ICF. So here what we are going to do is, we are going to take 2 ICFs, signature and all. And one ICF we are going to provide to them, one ICF we are going to maintain it in the documentation file. And file the original signed and dated ICF in the subject file. And document study participation in medical records of the subject. So this is the consent process is there. Information provided, information understood by the subject, and decision made. Here they are going to take the decision whether they are ready with the participation in the study or no. Comprehension monitored and maintained. Followed by, what is the consent process plan is there. Identify the obstacles to the subject participation and ways to overcome the obstacles, like regarding the family matter, regarding the work, and how many number of visits are there in the study, and how many number of blood they are going to withdraw, and who will provide the transportation money and all. So many like obstacles will be there in the subject. So we have to solve the problem, and we have to give the information to the subjects regarding all these obstacles. Which are the elements of informed consents are there? First of all, these are the essential, like how many, like 8 components are there. These are the very much essential. First of all, purpose, risks, benefits, what are the alternatives are there, alternative treatment, how we can go about the confidentiality, what is the compensation. If patients had any life-threatening, patient had any death due to the trial. So contact informations, voluntary participations, these are the most important 8 components. Followed by protocol number, name of the study will be written, what is the purpose of the study, and how many, the duration of the study is there. Either 1 year is there, 2 years is there, 3 years is there. Subject involvement, how many subjects we are going to involve. Statement that the protocol, informed consent were reviewed, and the participant, in that we should be written risk and benefits of the study. And what is the alternative treatment options discussed during the taking consent. Very important is confidentiality records. And how many number of subjects are there. What is the compensation for the injury? Patient had any injury during the study period due to the investigation product. That compensation also should be written in that. Time for questions to be asked and answers. When we are taking the consent, that time, what questions asked by the subject and what is the team members have given the answers for that. That should be also written. Description of the participant's decision. Contract details. Regarding the contract details, here we can tell about the how much expenditures we should give to them, travel expenditure, either any compensation is there, okay, subject responsibilities and as well as subject satisfactions also. What are the common findings? How to overcome all this? Too long consent forms should not be entertained. Too complicated long language, we should not use it. Here we should follow local languages. We should have the translator and they should be approved by the IRB and IC. Section describing what procedures we are going to use it. Not all the objectives mentioned in the protocol are mentioned in the consent form. Yeah, in the protocol it may be written all the objectives, but should not be written in the consent form. It should be concise one. Alternative therapy will be not mentioned. Procedures do not accurately describe all the relevant issues. Example, how many times for blood samples to be withdrawn? This should be written. And it should be a transparency one between the researcher and the subject. Copy of document was given to the participant. Yeah, after taking the consent, we are going to give the one copy to them, one copy we are keeping in our trial purpose in the documentation file. Signed copy of ICL. Benefits of the research all overstated. Risks are not covered. No. Equally, benefits and risk also should be written in the informed consent. Here we are not going to hide the risk. It should be a transparency. Coming to very important nowadays, audio video visualizing is also important in the clinical research. High result camera should be kept. It should be very much audible. It should be clear. No other person is involved. Only the researcher and the subject, either team member of the clinical trials. Only those people are involved while taking the audio video consenting. Order to maintain the confidentiality, very important, and there is no disturbance of the particular room. And CD can store at least 5 years after clinical trials. Whatever soft copies, whatever recorded soft copies there, that should be kept confidentially, and it should be kept for at least 5 years after clinical trials also. And only audio video consenting we can done it in some of the studies, and some of the studies like sexually transmitted diseases, these studies cannot be done video, only audio is acceptable. And overall summary of this clinical research in the informed consent process. Informed consent is a key document for protecting of the right of the study patients or study subject. Procurement of consent ensures it is a human dignity of the participants, although shows respect for them. All Bellman principles can go into applying this. Informed consent assures that it should be prospective research subjects, will understand the nature of the research, can knowledgeably and voluntarily decide whether or not to participate. Investigator is the primarily responsible person for the ethics and practice of informing persons about their participation in the research. The investigator should communicate of the informed consent process to research staff, expert them to maintain high ethical standards. So, he has the responsibility, investigator, principal investigator has the duty to see the all process is going on as per the ethical guidelines, as per the protocol. So, and other staff members can also have the responsibility to look for whether it is conducting according to the ethical standards or no. Thank you.